I had something I was going to say before I went into the pitch there to kind of like work into,
Was it that tonight's episode is brought to you by Kinder Bueno? The greatest candy?
I've actually got a Carmelo right here,
Oh,
Ooh, it's delicious.
and I keep a drawer,
Sponsor us, please.
and I
candy battle time.
and I keep a drawer of Reese's peanut butter cups like right behind me at all times. Except
I
my
can do it.
daughter knows about the Reese's peanut butter cup drawer, so this is the last one, and I'm mad. I'm like, I found out today I was down to one peanut butter cup, and I'm like, well, it was three, and I'm like you could have ate.
We've now discovered that Andrew is a Hobbit type GM.
Well, if that's not a transition, I don't know what is. Welcome everyone to Vampire the Masquerade Actual play. This is Milwaukee by Night, Endless Elegy. I am the storyteller this evening. This is part 13. I already forgot the title. The Rhythm of Sin. We're going to be kind of picking up where we left off last week with the coterie. It's official now, we're a coterie, right? Sort of wrapping up a party they had thrown together. We'll say to advance political agendas, but there was a lot of, advanced political agendas perhaps. We'll begin the evening with a conversation between Elizabeth Lucy. We'll kind of reset with the rest of the coterie, and then we're actually going to do something that doesn't happen very often in Milwaukee by Night.
No spoilers.
Have another night in the same session.
Spoiled.
Yeah, I know. Spoilers, but speaking of spoilers, Abby, how's it going? It's like bad transition.
Well, howdy there. It's me, your local spoiler, as it were, because I can't keep a secret for the life of me, but that doesn't mean I'm going to exploit yours. I'll be playing our lovely local Nosferatu Pixie, and you can find me on lots of other places at Nothing Happy, but for now, let's get to some family blotting.
Family blotting. Or plotting. Nice.
Yes.
Charlotte, how's it going this evening?
It's going well. You know, you never can really trust the really sweet ones. I know I don't. But that's why I'm trying to make friends with her in case when the other shoe does drop, I'll at least be on her good side. Yeah, I'm Charlotte. I'm going to be playing Elizabeth tonight. And if you want to find out other things I'm doing, check me out on Twitter at Foxfire22, FOXFYRE22. If you go there, you will find a link to a solo audio drama production I did 2 years ago, which I'm trying to resurrect.
Nice.
Hoping to get more episodes done in the near future. And we'll see where that goes.
Right on. No, I'm looking forward to it. It looked like it had a fair bit of interest, just kind of with reposting it. Audio drama is one of those like formats that's just, awesome. Like we just need there can never be enough audio dramas. It's one of those like great. We all work and have terrible soul crushing jobs, and to be able to just like have something like that, like it's just. Yeah.
It is just so nice to plug in a story and just go on ahead.
Right. So speaking of me getting everything wrong and the person I call in to bail me out when I forget vampire lore, how's it going, Scott?
So far, so good. I've only been asked a couple questions this week. Mostly not related to vampire, though. Surprisingly. I'm going to be playing the character Ben, Sahar, the Tremere, and going to be doing some more blood magic tonight. And It's also funny. I was also notified today that somebody thinks I need cameras to spy inside of their haven.
Who would have said that? Oh, I think I know.
It's funny they think I need cameras for that.
I love the little coterie on coterie, like, call it tension that's building as any vampire game, I think, happens. So yeah, I guess it brings us to our next coterie member, Ty. How's it going? I wasn't going to do an awkward transition with that one. It's a little bit of a meme, but, like, speaking of tension, how's it going, Ty Romancer? Like, that felt a little... I did it anyway.
I am Ty, and I am our Hecata Salvatore.
As far as Decker knows.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally Hecata. Don't worry about it. But yeah, excited to be here, and not actually going to promote Kinder Bueno, but I am going to try to eat one later.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'll have a quick draw on my microphone. We'll see how long I can resist the Carmelo. And if you have a favorite candy in the audience, besides the blood of the innocent, leave it in the comment below this video.
You had me at blood of the innocent.
So speaking of favorite candy, can't do it anymore. All right, how's it going, Sam?
Blood of the Innocents is my favorite. And look into my soulless, dark eyes to know the truth of this.
Yeah, right. And who are you playing for us this evening?
I am playing
Captain Dark Eyes.
playing Cass, the resident Malkavian, and Cass might just be short for Casanova.
The way he worked people on his clothes that session, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Woo-wee, he was something else.
All right. So, I'm your storyteller. I'm Mephisto. Let's not get sued and tell a story about kindred. Totally different from telling a vampire story.
Let's do Cainites.
Cainites? That'd be a Sabat game, wouldn't it? Although, like, I played Dark Ages for so long, and the vernacular was still Cainite, like, because they hadn't switched over to calling themselves the Kindred. The Masquerade wasn't really going on, right? And so, like, when I went to LARP, I kept calling vampires Cainites, which was like, in a new circle, they're like, motherfucker Sabat. I'm like...
Guys, you have to understand I'm old.
Like, I'm just a really old vampire, okay?
Guys, I'm a boomer. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, boomer vampire. I just don't get your hip kids lingo and tink talks and courier pigeons. In my day, we just sent a vessel that we flesh sculpted out of clay.
That sounds fun. Can we do that?
It's some easy, Ken. Tremere too.
As a gargoyle, I'm offended.
So,
Ask
speaking
me how much I care about a gargoyle being offended.
There's a whole
even less than an Nosferatu.
There's a whole other game to be played in like never mind. All right. But no, this is Milwaukee by Night. Enough of me like imagining other games with like weird gargoyle politics and stuff, trying to like overthrow their wicked Tremere masters. In Milwaukee by Night, as I said, we are at Club Anything currently, and Elizabeth is meeting with the former Toreador Primogen. Lucina prefers to be called Lucy. In one of Ben Sahar's sort of special sort of soundproof chambers to make sure that you're free from prying eyes and prying ears. And I suppose we can pick up there before we go into some other stuff. So Lucy settles. What's the decor of this? Is this like a literal dungeon or is it like an office? What's the setup, Ben Sahar? Like how?
So because these rooms are used for save rooms for Kindred during the day, they are pretty minimalist. There's a coffin sitting in the middle of the room for use, and then on either side of them are like velvet couches,
Like
but
literal.
otherwise the room, like literal. So it's pretty minimalist because the only things that should be in there are usually the vampire sleeping and maybe a bite to eat when they wake up.
So then Lucy immediately places a finger on the coffin, and how fantastically Renaissance, she says. I'll real quick go to Salvatore, who's exited the club and he's kind of began roaming. Was it?
Salvatore was headed to his walk-in refrigeration setup. He had some modifications to make to a certain biped friend.
Okay. So en route to it, Salvatore's sort of walking that way. Wound a few corners. Salvatore's been a professional in his line of work for a while, so he's not exactly subtle, but he knows how to not be followed and notice when he's being followed, type thing, right? He runs a couple corners, and one moment it's the sort of bright lights of one of the sort of primary club districts of Milwaukee, and stuff like that. And the next he turns and all the sort of street lights just seem suddenly dimmed. You hear the sort of crackle of a clove cigarette being inhaled, and you can make out like the tiny cherry in the shadow of sort of a building's overhang up ahead, the awning,
Shell will peer into the shadow, see if he can make out a form or recognize the.
Almost on command, the shadows, almost like removing a garment, seem to sort of peel away, and Abigail Winters is standing there leaning up against the wall. You're now a few blocks away from Club Anything.
Good evening.
Evening, darling. How was the party?
It didn't stay very long. Just had to give Ben a gift.
How traditional, she says. I just, it occurred to me on my travels this evening and something you said. I just wanted to touch base with you, maybe make sure we're on the same page regarding something.
Of course.
She kind of like does one of these and beckons you over.
Sal will approach.
Trying to find my correct notes here. I just wanted to say, in case it wasn't clear, let me know if you do find out anything on the Sabbat. I have a vested interest in making sure they don't get a foothold in this city. It could really complicate matters if they did.
Of course, as soon as I know a thing, you will.
Anything that would make its way to Decker, anything you find interesting, let me know.
I will let you know before I say anything to the prince.
Oh, you're really head of the class, aren't you?
I never did well in school.
I'd imagine your education was a more specialized one.
Yes.
Well, I'll be in touch, she says.
Wonderful.
And if you need to get a hold of me, just look for the brightest star in the sky, darling. She like walks past you, and you don't see her. Like you kind of do one of those, take your moment to kind of look back, and you don't think she had enough time to make the corner, but she's not there.
God. So, just kind of keeps heading in the direction he was heading. Then.
Sal will reach his refrigeration units, his side hustle, his grocery store business or whatever.
Yeah, it's that corner market,
Yeah. The corner market with a very small storefront,
incredibly small,
but a very large refrigeration unit. For all the fresh, fresh caught Lake Michigan fish.
That's right.
The fresh veggies.
Yeah. Lots of those stores have 4 walk-in coolers.
So you have modifications to your friend Tomlin to make.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and roll a? So you're going to be doing an Oblivion.
Yeah, and I'd probably just have Tomlin follow me to my haven where I have the altar for that, because being
so you're retrieving Tomlin
him,
and then heading
getting
back
him
to
out of
haven.
storage, going to the haven where I can, be closer to my tree branch, my tree branch.
You and your spooky botany.
All right. So you retrieve your friend Tomlin, your new compatriot.
Yeah.
Head back to your haven on the east side, which takes a while to get there from where you are. Might even have to call in Jimmy if you so choose. And I'll have you you'll be performing the ritual, as it were, which is going to be an Oblivion. It can be resolve. Combined with that to properly insert the thing, the part of this tree, and we'll, as we sort of like get this like cut away from like gruesome horror. I'd say that's enough to successfully do it.
His difficulty, we said the tree is -3, right? The altar.
So at the tree specifically.
Oh, okay.
3. At your altar 2.
2. Okay.
So, you perform the ritual successfully. Embed the splinter essentially at the base of Tomlin's brainstem, and you now have yourself a evergreen. Pine fresh zombie.
All of the places you can go now, Tomlin.
You see a sheen of semi-sentience wash through Tomlin's eyes as you complete the ritual.
Can they talk to me? Can I talk to my friends, or do they not? They can't enunciate anything, right?
Depends. Tomlin can't. If you get a slightly fresher one, perhaps.
Okay. Well, I still talk to him. And
Tomlin, I would almost imagine Tomlin's got like some monosyllabic responses he's capable of.
That's all needs. Just some friends to talk to.
Yeah.
Not creepy at all.
But
Don't worry.
Tomlin really talks with his eyes, really.
Yeah. He gets me. I know he gets me.
And now we'll head back to Club Anything with Elizabeth and Lucy in one of these sort of vampire safe rooms.
She was last commenting on the decor.
Yeah, she doesn't mind that it's rather minimalist. She actually doesn't mind minimalism, but the coffin she finds rather quaint. She said, really Renaissance, she says.
Yeah. You can tell when somebody doesn't have a tornado around to help them with their decorating.
Or a cryo chamber, she says. Who do you think gave LeBron James the technology?
Ooh, do tell.
Perhaps another time. This is, might have been, well, no. That might have been, one of the tower's influences, she says. Um, just like the payphones now, she says. Making a comeback. Sometimes the old methods are good,
The
but
necessary ones.
she nods, but you wouldn't catch me you wouldn't catch me, well, dead in one of these.
I don't know. I think they'd be pretty secure. You could latch them from the inside, and depending on where they're placed, nobody's going to really look inside of it. And they kind of look comfy as fuck.
Perhaps, she says. Not as...
Roll persuasion!
You gonna roll persuasion?
No.
Oh, okay. She's like, perhaps, but I assure you my, several thousand thread Egyptian cotton sheets are far more comfortable.
I can imagine.
She's like, it's illegal to make the thread counts this high in this, but when has what's legal ever exactly also equated directly to what's right? So you wanted to talk to me?
Yes, and offside. I'm having a hard time remembering why.
Werewolves, a little bit. I think it was to nudge her a little bit on the why she didn't become prince.
Yes.
Those were from my notes.
Yes. As we kind of learned about each other the other night, you and I can trade words and jabs pretty good. So I don't think we need to go through that again. So I'm just going to kind of put it out there straight. Why are you not running this place?
You assume I'm not, she smiles.
Well, I mean, he has pretty easy strings to pull, but what's the fun being behind it all when you could be in front of it all?
It's a fair question, she says. She takes a moment to kind of read your features and maybe even rouse her blood some. Roll a persuasion. Charisma persuasion.
3 successes.
Would you like to willpower that?
Nah.
There was a time princedom appealed to me. Perhaps in a different life or a different place. It still would. Milwaukee's different. Well, I'm sure you figured that out by now.
Yes, and I honestly still have not figured out whether I appreciate that difference or not.
There are many who don't embrace the quirks of this place. But for those of us that do, you can find her quite inviting. Her allure. She shows you something. It's something you can't find anywhere else.
Like something in the water?
Well, that's part of it, I suppose, but no, it's in every brick, on every street, and every skyscraper, every ranch home. If you're open to it, there's like a choir. Each street sings a verse in time, and some are driven mad, not knowing what it says, what the song is. Some never hear it, but feel it like a subsonic frequency just slowly eating away at the mind. And some of us understand that. Well, you don't need to understand anything. You just have to let it work through you. Enjoy it like all great music.
Sounds enchanting. I haven't really had a chance to take in some of the more rare finds in the city. I've been kind of hit the ground running when I got here and haven't stopped yet.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you've encountered it. Had dealings with her will. You maybe can't identify it. Maybe a traffic argument there, a stray cat there. Milwaukee's always singing, my dear.
I'll have to make sure I keep my eyes open for it next time I'm out and about.
Try opening your heart. Eyes can be deceived.
I don't know. I know what happens when we open our hearts, specifically to wood, and it's not pleasant. I would like to avoid that.
Fair enough. She gives a chuckle. Fair enough.
So we've been working for Decker for a little bit now, and we've been making headway into a lot of the issues that plague this area. But I must admit that I am here also for a more personal reason.
Is this the pleasure part of the business?
No, I would say that business is business in this case.
Oh boy.
I mean, the pleasure is your company, and...
Smooth. Okay, so what's this business? I know you come from Victoria by the princess. Actually, the prince spoke for you direct, which actually seemed to carry surprising pull with Decker. He tends not to involve himself with other fiefdoms. Barely Chicago, and certainly not Canadian princedoms. So I'm not certain what your prince said to him, but she had his ear.
I think that our two princes are more alike in some regards than others would know.
She is Ventru, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Not many Ventru left in Milwaukee, I'm afraid. Too rough for their blood.
Well, we all have our environments in which we thrive.
So tell me about yours. You seem less fond of Milwaukee and still have some fondness for your city when you speak of it. Why leave? This business must be very important.
Truth be told, it wasn't my choice. It was a twofold... Can't think of the right word, but there were two reasons why I had to leave. One of which is we have a bit of a dog problem. And with the rumors that have circulated regarding how Decker deals with the werewolves, I figured that would be a good place to come and get some information on to how to effectively deal with them.
Blood and guts, I'm afraid. A little luck.
Have you had a run-in with them? Like face to face?
Oh, who hasn't? Yeah, I have. I'm one of the few who remembers before the war.
And that is why I'm here to talk to you, because I'm assuming that we have some similar capabilities. So I would like to learn from you personally how you've dealt with them with our special skill set.
Well, how you deal with any dog, my dear. You give them a bone.
But whose?
It's going to vary. The first mistake many kindred make in dealing with werewolves is treating them all the same. Their politics, though not as robust as ours, aren't so different. We have our clans and sects, and they have their tribes. They have their taboos. Learning to differentiate has been, well, critical in Milwaukee's success in dealing with them. And like I said, a lot of blood. There was a time diplomacy could have been on the table. I'm not certain the geopolitics of your region. Let's say in this metaphor, the Lupine loathe us to the very core of their being. But by bone or stick, you can sometimes coax out an understanding. Far less, like I said, diplomacy these days. As I said, I'm afraid I'm not familiar with your region, but once upon a time in Milwaukee, 100 or so years ago, the Lupine and the Vampire, the kindred, had a common goal and kept a wide berth of each other, but stayed mostly united. The Spirit Runners, she says, quaint little double entendre. Werewolves used to run protection for the spirits, the alcohol, and the like coming up from Chicago, and other more specific to our kind's plights. I can't tell you the details of the previous princess arrangements with them. But it said his wife carried a great deal of sway with him, and the Lupine actually had a fondness for her, despite her kindred, Gangrel, status.
Well, those two groups have always been blending the lines.
Oh, they still... Gangrel, still smells like vile, corrupt blood to a Lupine, but just one that's maybe bathed a little bit. They're usually a little bit more willing to overlook them in places of common ground.
So you're still saying that there's a shot that talks can still work?
It might not. Again, I'm not familiar with your region, but by stick or bone, she says, in common ground, it's too late for Milwaukee. It's mostly stick these days.
Gives me something to think about.
I suggest that, the Gangrel and the Bruja leaving our sect has been a setback. But if you've still some loyal gangrel in your fief, I suggest you speak with some of them. Find places that matter to the Lupine. Um, you can use it as leverage, whether it is by threat or whatever. I find common enemies work the best. But like I said, that was a different time. Now it's war.
Seems like we have too many common enemies as nights go on. Have you heard much about the Sabbat that have apparently have been infiltrating Milwaukee?
Impossible.
Decker seems to think it's not. We've been put on the case.
That you can tell she's holding she's holding her words. Considering all that's going on in the world in these nights, it would be the closest Sabbat stronghold was well wiped out, and the Beckoning took care of the rest that were left. Their main agent in the city, the Nosferatus, she bites her bottom lip. She roll a persuasion again.
That time I am going to use willpower, I think.
Okay.
That's one extra success, right?
Their main foothold in the city, their field sergeant, if you will, field lieutenant, if you will, Parovich, is Ash. He was on the Primogen Council with me back before the old prince met his untimely demise, before Decker dissolved it entirely. There's a period of unease in Milwaukee, and the Sabbat saw fit to strike, seeking a new stronghold to take a suddenly princeless and half-deceased Primogen Council by surprise. Parovich led it. His own child killed him. Christian.
Can't say that I have had the pleasure of meeting him yet.
He is a interesting fellow. It's not uncommon for kindred to struggle with their humanity, but he seems to be one of the very few, for as young as he is, to not acknowledge it within himself. The struggle, that is. He'd leave you to believe that he's every bit a monster as Parovich. And in some
What?
senses, I suspect he is.
Is that some kind of sins of the father type deal?
He is a troubled... Well... Some time has passed, I suppose, but... He's no neonate anymore, but... I suppose a troubled Ansele, then.
So you're saying it's impossible for there to be Sabbat around here?
I'm saying it's highly unlikely. They were. I mean, the Anarchs were still in Milwaukee when the Sabbat made their move. The only thing the Anarchs and Camarilla could agree upon was hunting down the Sabbat. It cost the Anarchs in the end, and well, that's why you find a Kawa thrown in with Decker. I'm sure they have war stories of their own they could tell you that wouldn't be mine to say, but they were once opposed to each other, you know, until the Sabbat attacked. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it would take a great deal of subterfuge from some rather powerful individuals to get the Sabbat back in this city under Decker's and Arjun Shah's surveillance, let alone Christians' hypervigilance, we'll say.
What if they're already here under our noses?
Then that's a troubling concern. And I'm afraid I'm going to have some questions for Decker. Less candidly than this.
If you could hold on a day or two while we do some of our investigation into this matter first, that would be appreciated.
I can. Now, I'm afraid we've talked rather plainly so far. I like you. You remind me of someone I once knew. Suppose, we Toreador can be sentimental. But,
Much to our downfall.
She nods. But I'm afraid, we are still Camarilla. And, the pleasantries must end some time.
I will not have that sometime being tonight. So then I will take my leave and leave you to the rest of your evening.
It's been a pleasure, Elizabeth.
You've given me much to think about, and I thank you for your time.
If you, don't mind, could you leave me with my thoughts a moment?
Absolutely.
She runs her hand over the back of one of the sofas. Velvet. How truly quaint. So, I guess, is Elizabeth heading back to the coterie right now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So coterie still should be at Club Anything. I don't think anyone besides Salvatore's left yet. Let's real quick. So you've had that whole conversation going on. Whilst that conversation has been happening, Pix and Cass and Ben Sahar, who are all in like the sort of common area, see Ben Sahar speaking with an individual who can only be described as very beautiful, like super like feathery, like feathery blonde locks of like angelic like hair, like dressed per the code, per the dress code of the evening in sort of like stark white clothing, like a suit, basic sort of two-piece suit with a with like a blazer and such. Trying to think of how I want to do this. Ben Zahar, you should recognize the person. I mean,
Well, that's right.
Yeah. Elias, these nights.
Certainly, forgive my accent. I've had a cold lately.
I'm sure. Pix, what are you doing?
I would say at this point, given the, let's call it a business meeting, and the shock of seeing Cass and that has been quite a bit, and I'd say actually she's a bit lost in thought.
Okay.
Probably sitting down at some sidebar, like watching. Maybe like if someone's nearby, she'll nudge him and say, looks like Ben's got a lady friend.
Oh, I didn't say a beautiful man or woman.
Oh.
Just
A
quintessentially
partner.
beautiful person. Like, just,
Oh, gotcha.
just like
A lovely acquaintance friend.
androgynously beautiful, like angelic, the most beautiful creature in this entire bar right now.
God, what's a Nosferatu gotta do to get someone like that on my arm?
The anti-Nosferatu.
Yes. Mean. But
Like,
I'm hoping once this party does wrap up, I've learned some lessons and I have some business to talk about, I think, with the, let's say, more professional members of our coterie. I've got ideas.
do you have someplace private for us? Says Elias.
I suppose we can go to my office.
Pix, you're intrigued by this individual, I think. You want to follow them?
Of course I do. I don't want to use any disciplines out where the kind can see, as few as they might be, nor arouse any suspicion from my coterie mate, but I'll make a kind of like natural show of going to the bathroom and then activate the good old unseen passage of one of the stalls.
I mean, let's be honest. Pix has already seen worse at my house.
True. I've seen terrible things in that basement.
If
Right.
Pix was more aware individual, she probably would not have gone in there.
Yes, but alas, cats and curiosity. But first, I will make my rose check. Speaking of, I need to get something to eat. Oh, no.
Fails.
I am at hunger for now. This is not... Actually, you know what? I should probably get something to eat right after this. But I'm committed now. Let's go. Follow my friend. Under the guise of shadows.
Do you have sense the unseen there, Ben?
Not right now. We haven't recovered that ability yet.
All right.
Would I ever betray you? We don't need to have your guard up.
Would you? Absolutely.
All right. So Ben Sahar retreats someplace, your office, as I recall, right? With Elias, with an E. Unbeknownst to the coterie members' treachery. And Elias is like, I'm sorry, normally I would... how's it been, Ben?
You're as subtle as ever.
I don't find the illusions the most necessary in good company.
Right. You're full of shit, as you've always been.
And full of something else as well.
It's been a while since I've seen you guys or had word from Tyre.
Busy, as you can imagine.
Well, that's why I tried to get a local Hakata to help me get a peek in and see what was going on, but no luck so far. He's been trimming daisies.
Tell me about the cicada.
Under normal circumstances, he would be an ex-cicada.
I'm afraid you're going to have to elaborate on that one. I only know of one.
The activities he's into would make him into dirt, dust, not alive. But for some reason, I haven't decided to kill him yet.
Perhaps you spent too much time around that Dante character. He had a way of collecting wayward souls, too.
No kidding. Some even wondered if would be Dark Lords.
I'm sorry, I just didn't hear that. Sorry. Repeat.
I said some would be Dark Lords.
Well, are you going to ask me about New York? Oh, it's boring anyway. But I did run into someone who has had quite a lot to say about Milwaukee. Anatole.
Who?
Malkavian. Interested in the Gehenna business with Beckett.
Those guys. I see. Those guys always have lots to say and magically find themselves in the strangest of places.
As if some unknown hand moves them.
Something like that, I'm sure.
If you're trying to reach it, it's my understanding that Milwaukee may be a decent place.
From what I've seen so far, you could just pick your poison as far as end of the world events.
Do you have a favorite so far?
Well, let's see. We've learned that there might be a talon of the worm. We learned there might be a giant lake monster who could be any one of things. We've found a giant ghost. They could be an attachment to the Neverborn in Oblivion. I mean, it's like every week we find a new world-ending terror.
It must be exhilarating.
It's something. And unfortunately, my coterie doesn't, or the associates here, aren't aware of 99% of the things they get into.
But they have you to protect them.
Sure. For now.
Well, business pleasantries out the way. It's time for pleasure. And he shows his wrist to you.
I don't know if I agree with this arrangement anymore.
Unfortunately, that's above your pay grade to disagree with. If you're trying to resist, you're going to have to roll some dice.
All right. Well, we're going to do that.
Wow, okay.
We're even going to rouse to do extra dice.
You open up my books.
Ooh, big character moment. I'm just sitting here in the corner eating popcorn. Like,
all right.
Did you have a flaw for this?
No.
Okay.
I do not. I'm going to spend a point of willpower to reroll 2 of these. 6 successes.
In the moment you're able to resist For now. Oh. Well, Ben Sahar, I'm disappointed in you. I thought the
You wouldn't be the
arrangement
first one to
was...
say that. And Azir said the same thing.
I thought the arrangement we had was a good one.
It has pros and cons.
Nice club you have here. I'll be in town a few evenings. Should you think better? And you sense a very real sort of razor edge to Elias's words. I'd really hate for any protections afforded you to suddenly disappear. Great party, though. Truly.
Thank you.
Should see some of the Toreador ones we throw in the old city.
I'm not a fan of Toreador parties, and you know it.
Did I say Toreador?
I mean, you pretend to be one.
Would Ben Sahar know that?
No, I'm just talking shit about their appearance.
Look here, I am the finest specimen of Toreador to ever grace now 3 cities. I have some business with your prince. Seems that the gates to Milwaukee have finally opened after decades. With an unlikely individual to finally open them. Canada. Elias takes their leave.
Really hate that guy.
Elias has
So
nothing
much.
but love for you.
Yeah.
And from the corner, Pix says, "Me too."
Me too. I think as Elias leaves, actually, I will just trail behind them because between the gnawing of the beast and the weight of what I've heard, I cannot be in this room with Ben any longer with them because I am just. It is so much. I'm just gonna find the vampire open bar and pretend I wasn't listening into all of that.
What kind of refreshments might you have for Kindred, Ben, at this party?
I mean, we always got blood on tap, buddy. Always got that.
All right. Tyler, with their post up at the bar. You look like you could use a drink, sweetheart.
Yeah, a drink. And Pixel wink multiple times.
That's unnecessary. I find the house red quite fine. The house red is what you think it is.
Oh, okay, right. Do I owe you anything for it? I got like a credit card around here.
Ben's VIP guests are taken care of.
They're a delight that way. But yeah, get me the biggest thing you have that I have got something fierce growling.
Slapping the bag, are we?
In a way.
Why don't you head on over to the VIP area? There's I think a less savory sorts call it a champagne room. I'll see that you're taken care of.
Thank you kindly, and Pixel eagerly shuffle in that direction. Man, not only am I going to sate my hunger for blood, but I have sated my desire for secrets tonight. So many secrets.
Cass, where's your hunger at?
He's actually at 0.
Okay. Pix, basically Tyler has like a full a full pair of bottles delivered that should do you for four full hunger. You're a bagger already, so it's. I mean, the vessel's different, but like it hits the spot just the same.
Dang.
Maybe even better. Like perhaps this blood was extracted from somebody who was actually drinking wine, so it's like,
Yeah, I get that little buzz. And
yeah.
do you think Ben would mind if I stole one of these bottles? Because like it would be really nice just to cut open a bag, drink it from this. I feel like I'd be being bougie all night.
Keep them.
Thanks.
If you put down an address, I can see that some falls off the truck your way.
Oh, really? Little old me? Well, don't really have an address per se, but there's this sewer opening kind of like down the road here near the pier. Just drop them off by a fence pole. I'll grab them, but it'd be deeply appreciated.
Don't mention it. Tyler just sort of rather aloof, sort of like aloofly sort of like flits out the room.
Very shrouded in mystery, that one. Quite a bit like his master. Can't wait to
Acquaintance.
get up.
Acquaintance.
Acquaintance.
They're peers.
Just homies,
Tyler's my BFF. They came with me from Copenhagen.
Aw.
Picks you're able to take care of your hunger. I think everyone's pretty well doing decently. This will be about so Elizabeth will have like one little minor detail. Cass, as like there's sort of like a party raging and like the lights are flitting. Barth is doing their thing. Virgil has rejoined Barth to accompany with like live guitar, and the horns accompaniment have shown up that Barth likes to take along with him. You sort of like start looking at the lights and the way the fog machine sort of dances, like, and plays with the lights. And every now and then, like, you hear like gunshots, like old Thompson, like old fire, like, and then like it puts you a little bit on edge, and you sort of feel yourself slipping and pulling away from Club Anything periodically, and just sort of like start to feel some anxiety build up and get a little bit edgier. You're for the moment at zero. The beast is quiet tonight, so maybe you have some extra resolve in you for that reason alone, and you're able to sort of like resist this, this sort of like chemical call and the gunshots and stuff.
Okay.
When by the time that go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. You go ahead first, please.
Oh, I was just gonna say, by the time the coterie kind of reconvenes from their various activities, they can probably notice that you're a little bit on edge, like, more, like a little bit more than usual,
Other than that typical Malkavian flavor,
Okay.
Like look, you kind of glancing around a little bit more, like a car driving by, like you don't hear the car, you hear like an airplane, and that sort of thing, where it's like your attention keeps getting pulled to these ambient sounds that are sort of warping under your sort of grand delusion.
Okay. I was gonna say Cass might actually head out and might, I don't know. He'd probably want to get away from this place, and he also really wants to investigate that warehouse.
Okay.
So like he might just sort of like say to the coterie very briefly, like, great party, but old Casanova's got to get going.
Got someone waiting for you out there? A gentleman or lady caller?
I don't think so.
All right, well,
Nice-
you know
nice
where
of
to
you.
call.
Nice of you to ask a little bit. Anyways. I'll see y'all later.
Cass discreetly leaves. Well, not discreetly. He actually says goodbye to Pix. And then Ben is going to, like, quietly leave their own party. leaving Pix and Elizabeth there.
And then there were two.
Yeah, probably for the best. He was talking to that person for a hot minute. Know anything about it?
Which person?
The really pretty one, like Victoria's Secret model.
Victoria's Secret Angel model.
Angel. Oh, yeah. Whew.
Yeah, if she says, like, if she references Angel, then I'll put two to two together. It's like, oh, right, yes.
Elias would have Lucy's friend. She introduced Elias as a like Torador from New York, basically, like Torador friend from New York was kind of how they're. I believe actually Primogen, the Torador Primogen of New York, here to just touch base with Lucy, clan business basically.
Did you hear anything good?
I mean, I just saw him go off into a room, but nothing much. I say as I ready a subterfuge roll.
Manipulation subterfuge for lying, right?
Yeah.
Opposed by wits, right? Or resolve to see through subterfuge. Y'all are busting out dice and opposed checks tonight? What is going on here?
I love a little bit of social warfare.
Oh,
It's gonna be wit.
It should be wits. It's what's it paired with. I mean, I guess wits subterfuge.
And you could do wits and insight, wits and subterfuge.
Yeah, wits and insight, like wits and
yeah.
subterfuge. You could even make a case for intelligence paired with subterfuge or insight.
Pick one for me, insight or subterfuge.
We'll go insight here. This is more
That's
like trying to glean the truth than like you're familiar with lies. Does that make sense? Like so it would be on the insight side of things.
I'm about to be caught.
Nice. Subterfuge manipulation 2.
Uh-oh. Oh no. I think
Bullshit.
it's just like a kid caught with her hand in the cookie jar, like, I don't.
Yeah, I call it bullshit. What'd you hear?
Okay, I might have heard a little bit. I was going by the bar to the champagne room or whatever. And all I saw is the really hot person handed their wrist to him. Partial truths.
Oh yeah, so you and Ben have a little bit more in common now than what you realized going into the night?
Look, that's different. Thompson
Uh-huh.
isn't threatening me. He's doing it willingly. And can we not talk about that?
Well, I get it. You're young. We're still going to talk about this one day.
I guess. I promise. It's nothing to be worried about. He has my best interest at heart, and it's really... I actually have some ideas for it, but we should
You've
probably
heard the
talk-
phrase famous last words, right?
Yeah.
Just saying.
I appreciate the concern, but really, there's nothing to worry about. He's a whole world away in Chicago.
It's like a hop, skip, and a jump down the road. I'm not even from here, I know that.
Well, between that and all the dogs running around, but... yeah. But actually, speaking of that, I did have some ideas, but I think we should wait for everyone else to get back. But yeah, seems that Ben and I do have that in common.
What time is it right now, approximately?
You're probably at like midnight 30, about now.
Well, everyone went off on their own separate directions. Where should we wait?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Sundown vacated the place after he heard Sal was around. Might be a good idea to go upstairs. Or, of course, there's that room if you're feeling a bit fighty.
Well, here, why don't we go upstairs and have that conversation that I've been threatening to have with you for a little while now?
Oh no, the mom lecture.
Yes, which we can do later on down the road and just kind of advance time now at this point.
So you want to do the
Yeah.
one-on-one session with one of our
Yeah.
nocturnists for later? All right, sounds great. Note to self. All right, so we'll book that. We'll have a little side mini session with just y'all's characters. All right. I'm gonna cut back to Cass here for a minute. So Cass has sort of like done what Cass does to get anywhere, which is like walk and then just sort of like time lapse to places. Sort of like in and out as you sort of tap into the network, and you know, a walk that should take 3 hours, suddenly you find it only taking 1 hour because you've just been spacing out along the way, that kind of thing. And you head towards the dock up north area where Dante, Virgil said it, like kind of roughly said it was, but you didn't get the specifics quite yet. I think Dante was putting together a care package. Dante's like levels of discretion are Batman levels of discretion. So like even having an open conversation in a soundproof room is like not cutting it for Dante if it's not on his terms. So, you know, that's just again Batman levels. But you know roughly where it is. And then we have one of those moments where like a Harley, you can hear the pipes rumbling and rattling and you know, sort of like churning off in the distance. And that hyper-vigilant state kind of kicks in again, where it's almost involuntary sort of trauma response to this like sudden loud noise, and you turn your way to it, and oh, it's just a Harley, and then it runs past you, and like sort of as it's passing you, you get this sort of like the bright, you know, single lamp headlight that sort of blinds you. And then the blinding doesn't stop long after you've heard the motorcycle go off. It's super bright, and your vision sort of slowly comes into focus. It's daylight, and you immediately quickly panic and go to grab yourself, like expecting to burn and sear in the daylight. When you hear, Lane, Private, shoulder your weapon. And you're currently in like the classic doughboy fatigues of World War One.
Cass will look around, and I guess he'll reflexively shoulder his weapon.
Yeah, Cass is, you know, like like I said, in the classic doughboy fatigues. You've got like a, probably like a bolt action sort of, single action type thing. You can see your sergeant, Sarge, aptly named, sort of slightly up a hill, up ahead. You can see the razor wire everywhere, and you can see the sort of mustard gas, or the sort of like fog of war peeling away in the in the sun. He's sort of gesturing, like get a move on, like type thing, and you're sort of rushing into like a trench, like up ahead. You're kind of caught in the middle of no man's land. You can hear the blasts and the explosions going on around, and the gore of war is as vivid, it is as burned into your mind's eye as ever. And the folks who didn't make it on the last charge across no man's land, some of them still lay twitching, and you can see, sort of remains tangled in the razor wire as you sort of dive into the next trench. We're taking this depot. You hear me? This is it. And it's about a dozen of you.
What's the plan, Sarge?
We've got another shelling coming. We're going to charge with the shelling. Right behind it. There's like bullets were overhead and stuff.
All right. Copy that.
All right. And some time passes as like you sort of like sort of like hugging this trench that's already like pre-dug. You can see like some of your troop going around and like bayoneting some of the other soldiers that they took the position from.
Friday evening.
And and the shelling then comes, and you charge up sort of behind it. A couple of the folks die to friendly fire, and it ends up being just sort of you and Sarge at this like this depot up ahead, this raised bunker up on a hill. You can see the cannons peeking out one of the towers. That would in turn be firing back on the Allies and stuff. And the Sarge sort of like, all right, rig the door. Private.
All right.
You actually have a demolition skill, don't you?
I sure do. I was just gonna ask if you wanted me to roll that.
Yep.
Is this int and
Mhm.
demolition?
Yep.
One's huge. Some of these other ones are like half the size.
I'm gonna spend a willpower.
There.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. So with a willpower, that's 4 successes.
Yeah. You quick like sort of rig up this door. You tell the Sarge to sort of like take cover, and you both sort of duck behind, and you have a classic wired remote. Blast in the door. You rush in, and like there's some of the Axis powers in there. Go ahead and roll 3 sort of firearms checks. Which can be resolve and guns, or if you're taking aim, aim is resolve. Otherwise, it's Jeepers Creepers. Why did I?
Composure.
Composure is for taking aim. Resolve is in general. So.
Okay. You wanted 3 of those?
Yep, 3 of them.
Okay, I got only 2 on 1 on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Only 1 on the second one.
Aggressive rolling.
And then 3 on the third one. I was not rolling very well there.
All right. The first 2 sort of like like you blast in the door, and the forces inside have trouble recovering. As you like round the corner, you sort of freeze, and the Sarge takes out the two of them first, real quick. His gun, he's quick like reloading, drops it, goes for his sidearm. He doesn't quite get his sidearm out in time when you blast the third one. All right, like, good job, Private. We've secured the depot. And then you hear a Harley again. You're suddenly in your haven with just an inexplicable amount of plastique, silver rounds, and like even some Dragonfire rounds.
All right.
And in your hand is an address and a time for about 3 nights from now.
Sweet. And Cass will just sort of look around and like, Ben will be happy with this.
Your moment of elation is broken up by the first person you saw tangled in the razor wire. The rest of the sort of combat scene has faded into farce, into the sort of fog of your sort of shattered memories. But the one face of this young kid, basically teen, dressed in again the doughboys, and you saw a patch on its shoulder, on his lapel, that said Private Lane.
Private who?
Lane, which is what Sarge called you. Like, a lot of Cass's memories are disjointed snapshots. They blur time period. Sometimes it's like a clip of movie that has made its way into your memory as a memory of your own. This
Right.
kid's face, Private Lane's face, hearing someone shout, "Private Lane, rig it." Crystal clear, that was a memory. The rest of it, but the kid's face and his name on his jacket.
Okay. So his face was recognizable.
Yep.
Okay. But does it look like me, or does it just look like somebody else?
Maybe.
Cass will look into like a mirror or something. Well, I guess, can you?
You can look into a mirror.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we've never really described what your haven is. I just assume it's some non-disclosed location, like,
Yeah.
like it just nebulously exists in like a liminal space. It's a place that can be found if folks start looking for it and stuff like that. But for like narrative purposes, I just imagine this this liminal. We're not really sure where it is from our narrative perspective because like we never see Cass go there. He ends up there and he talks about it, right? Like, and sometimes he sleeps at the VA. So like we get this interior shot of what is essentially like a bunk room, stone, like plain stone walls, maybe a couple of like posters like taped on them type thing, a tool bench, a couple like a chest at the foot of the bed like you would have at a military like in a military room type thing, maybe a closet, maybe, and then like a lone steel door that exits, and then just piles of these crates now just around the bed, that like you were kind of currently putting the lid back on as you kind of came out of your state there, and yeah, that vivid memory remains of this private lane, and like maybe you sort of like round a corner on the other side of your bunk, and there's like a mirror and a sink, right? And you stare into the mirror, and you've got this scraggly beard and hair, and you look at the eyes, and no, my eyes are way too haggard. That kid's face was innocent. Maybe the same color, maybe. But you have like this huge beard and this mountain of hair. You'd have to shave it all off. Maybe if you shaved it all off, you could see if it's your face. There's a razor right there.
Does Cass want to jump down this rabbit hole right now? Yeah. Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right. Cass turns on the sink, and it spits out like some rusty brown water real quick and you hear the pipes sort of churn through the wall, and the walls, you can even hear them kind of rattle a little bit as the water gets clear and begins to instantly steam. It's one of those old sinks. It only has extremely hot water or extremely cold, and there's no in between, and it makes no difference to your undead skin. So you swish the razor through it, sort of classic straight edge, and just start slicing off clumps of hair at first until you can get to the skin, and chopping haphazardly through the sort of mane of hair itself, and beard at the same time. And as you sort of feel the last bits of hair come off your face, and you can feel the razor blade just on bare flesh all around your cheeks and face, the fog of the mirror has sort of like eclipsed it all. You can just kind of make out a hazy silhouette of yourself, and you go to wipe it off. You're not certain if what you feel is relief or worry, but the face isn't yours. As Cass stares at himself, that wasn't Lane's face. I'm not Lane. you get a pain, like a memory is leaving you before you can grasp onto it. Okay.
He'll just pat like some of the creative ammo and is like, at least this is real.
At least this is real, he says. Ben, do you know how to catch up with Sal?
I have his phone number, but I don't know where his new freezer is.
He didn't go to the freezer. Did you know where his haven was, or no?
No, I'd have to call him. But he ended up before he left. He told me he wanted to talk to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of Sal's guys has a phone.
I'd imagine Jimmy keeps a phone on him.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe at some point Jimmy comes in and you've just like kind of finished surgery, you know, and you're wiping some gunk off your hands, and it's for you, boss.
Oh.
You said you wanted to talk about something after the party was over.
Sooner than I thought. Do you know where the jazz estate is, Murray?
I mean, I'm sure I can find it.
Let's meet there.
Should be there soon.
Same.
And then as Sal's hanging up, you hear him say,
Jimmy, get the car ready.
Hand the phone back. What are Pix and Elizabeth doing in the meantime?
Oh boy, are we having that you naughty you?
Oh yeah,
can't
their
be going out
conversation.
blood
Yeah, the
bonding?
conversation is still going on. All right. So we'll what is the jazz estate, Sal? And if you wanna.
oh yeah, east side of Milwaukee. It's actually one of the only places in Milwaukee where you can hear live jazz to this day.
Oh.
It's real dark. It's kind of got that old school vibe. One of the only places Sal probably would be comfortable.
Yeah, right on.
Clearly, I'm going to hate it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's like I just imagine that scene from Gremlins when like the jazz gremlin shows up and just like he's like, yeah, like snapping it. Except the jazz gremlin is Sal.
Yeah. The audience won't be able to see this, but I'll put there's a cool shot right on their website of the bar. I mean, it's just like such a great. If you're ever in Milwaukee, it's an excellent spot to check out.
Right on. So you see Ben Sahar coming. You've probably got your like regular spot, and you've got the glass of really good whiskey that's just like has the ice cubes melting in it untouched, type thing. Ben Sahar, you see, recognize your friend immediately. Well, coterie mate immediately.
Do you want a drink?
I do not.
Is Tomlin with you?
He's kind of off my right shoulder, holding my coat.
You'll notice Tomlin looks, for lack of a better word, fresher. Now this is a thing that is just to keep it sort of in folks' mind. As Tomlin gets harmed going forward, Tomlin will eventually repair himself, but he always has like vicious scarring wherever the injuries were. So like from the impromptu surgery before, you can maybe see peeking up from like I'd imagine he's in a suit too, right?
Yeah.
You could see just this wicked scar like from the incisions under his throat, and it's just like looks ragged still, like just scar tissue, mounds of it. Any injury he'll ever sustain, it's just this wicked scarring. So, but I mean, he looks fresh now. He just looks like he had a really bad day with a hacksaw once, and they didn't do a great job patching him up.
Just yeeted him into a wood chipper.
Right.
Have you met Tommy before?
He looks familiar.
That's what you wanted to talk about?
No, but I feel like I've figured out our tree a little bit better.
How so?
Learned a little bit more about what it offers. I think we've got a lot more talking to do about some of what I've learned, but that will take time.
Okay, so what have you learned of it as far as like its immediate goals?
There had been a presence inside of it, something blocking the way. It's gone now. It wasn't the tree talking to me originally. But now it is mine.
That's never got ended well.
For now, I want to talk about who I give to it next.
I have two in mind.
I want if one of them is a time of day.
I wouldn't mind seeing Sundown disappeared, much like yourself. And I also have a new one, Elias, who I wouldn't mind giving to your tree.
It's alive.
Won't matter if the plan works.
I don't need to know him. I imagine we'd need to bring the others in for this, though.
Well, I also have a deal where I'm going to get some special ingredients so we can also locate that talon that Akawa talked to us about.
I think with this tree, if we want the talon, we might even be able to get it to work for us.
That would definitely be interesting.
I just wanted to extend the olive branch to you before I moved against sundown.
As much as he runs his mouth, the only reason he's still alive is because Pix was in the room.
I do think that the laws of the land may be a problem. He seems to run at the mouth to the prince quite a bit.
We'll just have to fix that now, won't we? Nobody likes a squealer.
The only good rat is a dead rat.
All right, well, we'll broach the topic of sundown with the group. As far as Elias goes, I need to figure out where they're staying first, and then we'll find out how it would work out.
Last time I checked, I owe you one.
Now, if Cass gets the groceries that I sent him for, this will get a lot easier.
Meats and cheese.
Oh, yeah. This is like a 4th of July celebration.
It's been a while since we had some fireworks.
Sundown will look like a sparkler.
When we finish him, I think I have somewhere we can hang him out to dry.
I need to figure out if Pix has any of his items. If she does, we'll find him in less than 20 minutes.
And I think we should find Pix.
I agree.
Tommy, bring the car around.
I go tell Tony to pull the car around.
Tommy or Jimmy?
All right, Tommy is what I'm calling Tomlin. I'm not
Yeah, I
going to
know.
call him Tomlin.
No, I understand.
But Jimmy, he'll go tell Jimmy I said Tony. Tony's another touchstone that we haven't talked about yet. But Jimmy, the driver. So Tommy would go outside, flag down the car that Jimmy would.
He goes, yeah. Just like gives the monosyllabic response and goes and Jimmy, car. Just points.
I like the way he talks now a lot better than before. Too many words.
I'm so happy you said it. Dramatic irony. So y'all reconvene back at Club Anything. It's essentially in a Milwaukee by night. Bar closes is 2:30 a.m. His last call in Milwaukee. In a Milwaukee by night, it's whatever the Camarilla thinks is best for their activities. 4 a.m., 5 a.m., right? But this was an exclusive event, so the bar close probably being a bit closer to 3 a.m. for this place, and like, hey, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here type thing. And it's pretty much just all kindred left by this point. As I'm going to ask that y'all predict how you think that conversation went and how you come downstairs from like the VIP booth as is Tommy joining you? As Tommy,
Tommy.
Ben Sahar and Cass and Salvatore have all sort of I'd imagine Cass has already like kind of been back, maybe. Or did you stay gone? Like, I don't know.
He would have stayed gone for like a little bit, but now that he has all that stuff, he'd want to get in touch with Ben.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can think to get in touch with Ben is back at the club. So, a clean-shaven, the rest, pretty much everyone has filtered out. Pix and Elizabeth are kind of coming down the stairs as Ben Sahar and Salvatore with Tommy in tow enter, and Tyler comes over to this pristinely white garbed, clean-shaven, like short-haired individual. This is an exclusive event, I'm afraid. It's time for you to... Cass? Do you have a run-in with a weed whacker?
No, I took a trip down memory lane. He'll say and get like that 1,000-yard stare.
Tyler, suddenly well aware of his super well kempt, dreads and hairdo, kind of reaches up and like, remind me to never reminisce with you. They say, and they. Tyler returns to the bar. Boss, they say, kind of like ironically to Ben as Ben comes in.
Not right now, Tyler.
I'll make myself scarce, they say. And we have Charlotte and Pix coming down the stairs. I predict, how do you think that conversation? What kind of look is Pix wearing? What is, like, is this was this a good how did the yeah, I just we'll always retcon it later if we got it wrong.
Oh yeah. I think Pix is leaving this conversation like the way when your mom catches you making out with someone on the front porch in your car. She is sulky, she is embarrassed, but just begrudging. Whatever was said, Pix is upset. She feels and looks belittled.
Elizabeth.
I would look disappointed.
Fantastic. And the coterie all has like the most lavish table in Club Anything. Barth gives like the sort of like the head. All right. Karaoke. Water Street. Closing there. Thanks for letting me play. We'll be in touch, he points at Elizabeth as he heads out the back door. Dante's like got his guitar over his back and he's like carrying some of Barth's equipment, and he just like kind of gives this like kind of like nervous like nod type thing, playing his role again of a fish out of water. Almost too well this time. He's gotten a lot. Ben Sahar will note that Dante's gotten a lot better at character acting since Copenhagen. Couple extra points in charisma. Spent some of his XP.
He's forced to get better, unfortunately.
Also, turns out like he always had performance, and playing guitar is, I guess, it works for acting as well. Apparently, so same dice pool. -1. So Dante helps leave with Barth, and it's the coterie plus Tyler, and Tyler has made themselves scarce. Tyler locks the doors behind everybody and makes himself scarce.
Pix is just gonna take an admittedly guilty but rudimentary just check of the room with her senses, just hearing if there's anything around.
All right. Wits awareness, and if you're using Auspex, go ahead and throw that in as well.
Alas, I don't have Auspex, but I will learn one day. But for now, wits and awareness. If it will so kindly roll. 5 successes.
Pix is relatively confident that y'all, plus Tyler, who's up doing paperwork in the office, perhaps, are all that's in here.
Can you double check, please? Make sure nobody is in here.
Sure thing.
I mean, I think we're alone. Pretty sure we're alone. I mean, at the mention of a certain someone, and Pix is gonna wink at Sal. I think the worst of the rats snuck off. Slinked off, rather.
6 successes. Unless you want me to add Auspex to that?
Yeah, if you're you can sense the unseen with it, or you can do your heightened senses. Yeah.
Yeah. That is 7 successes.
You'll confirm what Pix saw or didn't see, rather.
Looks clean to me.
So, Sal, you want to start?
I think when I burned Sundown's Haven, one of them, that was just to make me feel better.
He got a new place, I can tell you that much. Can't say if he's staying there still.
I think I want a more permanent solution for our rat.
Look, Decker's a strict sort from what I've seen. But if you're insinuating what I think you are, we're probably gonna have to go through him or do something, through the system. He's got himself pretty deeply entrenched in a lot of pockets.
Can imagine anyone would miss him.
I certainly wouldn't.
I don't usually ask permission before I kill someone. But in this case, I don't want anything to fall back on our coterie.
Coterie, yeah.
They said it out loud.
I think I have an idea, if you're open to hearing it, for ridding ourselves of a particular issue.
I'm all ears.
I'm pretty sure you saw my... And Pix is just gonna make a pointed side glance over at Elizabeth. Exchange with Sundown the first time we spoke. Well, not when he was sneaking up on us, but you get what I mean. It would be terribly, terribly easy for a skilled magister to claim that the vitae he delivered to me was not in fact my sire's, but his own. Not only would that make him an oathbreaker, which would be quite a few things, but he would be forcing a blood bond, which I don't believe is looked upon fondly by these sorts of people. At least, I don't think Decker would look at it nicely, if he is a man of honor. It might not be enough for, say, execution, but it would certainly be a black mark on his record. I've still
Well,
got
we know
it.
he's got a couple of those.
Might be enough to tip over the edge.
Thoughts, Elizabeth?
Speaking of Black Mark, if we partner that with thoughts that he may be the Sabbat infiltrator, we may be able to trigger an emotional response out of Decker.
The Sabbat? Shit, I mean, that's big potatoes, Elizabeth, but... You know, I could see this working. We plant some evidence. I convince Decker that he was misusing the trust he'd been placed in by my honest and good sire about this and leading me towards the Sabbat, and particularly with his clandestine meetings and whatnot. I think we've got something of a conspiracy.
I think based upon that alone, it could be enough to take to Decker just to kind of gauge his interest. Who knows? He may give us carte blanche to do as we need.
Especially with his paranoia around the Sabbat. Say, Ben, and Pix is gonna look over at them. Is there any sort of test you can do that magic or whatever wizards do in their nerd basements? Is there some way you could, I don't know, forge a Vita signature?
You know what would work even better is if we get him first, and then we fill said blood bag with his blood.
I like what you're thinking. And he's scared of me, but I think I could convince him that, or at the very least help you find him. I know where a few of his havens are.
If you have some of his effects, we could always find him the cheating way.
A few of his things. Well, and Pix is just gonna like pat all over herself until she just pulls a scraggly note out of her pocket. This. He wrote it to me. Is that enough?
I mean, we could try.
Good.
Similar items worked and helped us find Issa and Tomlin.
We could even visit the asylum to make it appear we've looked for these Sabbat.
Right. We could have one party go over and look over there, acting as true and loyal members, and the other could track down our rat.
There is one thing I do need to say, though, before we really solidify this. We have, 3 hours before sunup?
Right.
I don't think that's enough time to get sundown. So I need you to think of what I can be helpful for, because in 3 hours I'm shipping back home for a bit.
Do you think maybe you could write a letter or something that we could give to Decker before you leave?
I'm not sure if he would trust a letter on its own.
Right. And a recording would just be dangerous and get us into even more trouble than even the Sabat.
My persuasion tends to work better face to face. I mean, look at this face.
How about, what if you were to go to him right before? Say that you've picked up some evidence that there may be a rat within the Camarilla, a Sabat rat, and while your business calls you elsewhere, you've sent us to look out for it. It'd be enough to plant a seed of suspicion.
That could work.
Right.
How long
And
do you
then-
also plan to be on?
Hard to say. I'm hoping a month, could be 2. I do intend on coming back.
Good. Your skills are quite needed here, I think, especially with folks like him walking the streets.
I have aspirations of raising our stars just a little bit higher in the sky.
How so?
We'll talk more about that when I get back.
All right. I trust your judgment. For the most part. I mean, you're better at this than I am. But yeah, we'll talk.
All right, so am I going alone to go see Decker, or is somebody coming with me?
Do we want to play the... Well, we need his blood first, before we can fake a blood bond.
That one will take time, more time than we have tonight.
Right.
But I think I would be better off going with somebody else to go see Decker, because what good is it for the person that's leaving town for a little bit to come alone and say, oh, hey, by the way, the rest of my friends are off looking for stuff, right?
Someone personal.
Yeah, essentially passing on the liaison title. And honestly, I think, Pix, you might be the best one to come with me. You are of the same clan of Sundown, so...
And I could plant the seeds. I could play the part of, he didn't do anything wrong, or I don't think you're being wise, or I, at the very least, begin to plant the idea of a blood bond in Decker's mind. The poor child manipulated.
It could work.
Could. I come to you in a moment of clarity and explain it. I think this could work, Elizabeth, and Pix is just going to lean forward on the table. There is a predatory glint in her eye.
You're beginning to spread your wings a little bad.
More than that, I'd say.
I didn't hear what Salvatore said. Sorry.
And show her teeth.
Not going to be pushed around by the likes of Sundown. Besides, it's one loose end for the rest of us tied up. I don't think we need him or anyone else in this city looking over our shoulders. Besides, if your whole rising to the sky thing, Elizabeth, works, there'll be open positions.
And where there aren't, we make them.
Well put.
So, the rest of the coterie heads to their respective havens for the evening, perhaps. Mere hours to finish up some loose ends, and just enough time for Elizabeth to make shipping arrangements and talk to Decker. Decker, around this time, would be found in... did I put it on here? No. So we'll just switch to this one. Would be at the gardens. The Mitchell garden domes.
That's the baseball field, correct?
No, that's I didn't activate the scene yet, and I'm not gonna do it live, but it's the three domes. They're basically like hanging gardens. They're um, actual kind of marvels of engineering. Once upon a time, anyway. Like so much in Milwaukee, it has these moments and pockets of greatness that have just been allowed to be forgotten by time, the world, and everybody. But the Mitchell Park Gardens, the Mitchell Park domes are three half egg-shaped structures in the middle of the Clark Square neighborhood, constructed in the 1950s. The domes used to be some of the most cutting-edge structural technology, use some of the most cutting-edge structural technology of the time to create their uncommon shape. The domes host several shows throughout the year, and the gardens around them attract visitors for their rare flowers and beautiful landscaping. The dome's gardens were instrumental in helping to cultivate the Calatrava rose, which is named after the Calatrava Art Center off the lakefront. It's one of those blooms once things. Prince Decker spends most of his time in contemplation in this part of the city. He likes to walk among the flowers deep in thought. He recalls how his predecessor, Prince Merrick, would walk here with his wife Erica and present her with a bouquet of fresh flowers every night. It was a simpler time then. That's where Decker can be found this time of night. Jimmy give them a ride? Do they catch an Uber?
Yeah, absolutely. If they need a ride, he's at their disposal.
Let's go, Jimmy.
All right. Jimmy, per usual, waits outside in the plain, nondescript black sedan while y'all head into the domes. Decker is in the sort of grandest of them all at the center. It is currently in full bloom, sort of mid early spring, right? And there's a little bridge that goes over a brook that they've made inside the little garden area, and he's sort of up on it in his classic denim tuxedo.
Not the juxedo.
Yeah, the tuxedo. No, he's rocking a jean jacket and a pair of jean pants, with Harley Davidson biker boots, plain black with the reinforced toe, and you can even see the little Harley logo embroidered in the leather. He's got a flannel shirt on underneath, really
making
Elizabeth feel at home with the Canadian tuxedo, is what I'm saying, and the flannel, the national color of Canada. Sorry.
I love it.
We are a little bit more higher class than that up here. Thank you very much. Not by much, but still higher.
I mean, to be fair, I'm walking into this meeting with a dirty hoodie I pulled out of my sewer home, so really, we're not high class.
Yeah, the what was it? The egg color or the cream colored hoodie?
The beautiful ivory of this hoodie, and there's a bat in one of these pockets.
Batty decides that this evening, Batty would like to get their evening workout in, and starts chasing some bugs around in this garden.
That's cute.
Batty gives an elated chirp as they flitter off.
Go get some moths, sport.
You know, you could always replace Francis and have a chauffeur of your own. I mean, it's a pretty nice ride, right?
It is, but I mean, I don't want to subject Francis to, Pix just waves her body largely. This, what we deal with. He's already got a lot on his plate.
Move up in the world. Let him live his life to his own devices. And get yourself someone to really work for you.
Elizabeth, I might just consider that, if our promotion works out.
Well, that is the long game, and we have eternity at this point.
That we do. That we do.
All right, you ready to talk to him?
I'll be sure to muster up some doe eyes.
Decker kind of like glances over. Oh, my favorite new citizens, he says.
Good evening, Prince. Do you have some time for us?
I do. He looks around, and we're quite alone.
Excellent. I've got a few things I need to discuss with you. First off, I'm going to be taking my leave of your domain for a period of time. Unknown at this point, but I've been called home to help with what I've been sent here for. So we'll see how that plays out, but I do intend on returning. With your permission, of course.
Permission granted. In fact, I'll talk to Blue. He can help you with transportation. Is this for this morning, tomorrow evening?
I have
Later.
a flight arranged early this morning from across the border, so any assistance getting to that location would be appreciated.
I'll have Blue take care of you.
Perfect. Now that that is taken care of, on to the next.
Be sure to send a missive ahead when you're coming back. I just like to keep as informed as I can be of these things.
I shall.
I don't like surprises.
Nor do I. Now, on to the second. We think we have a lead on the little Sabat problem.
All right. Good news, I hope.
News is news. Make of it what you will.
So it's bad news.
It's a little closer to home.
It's only just a issue, really. I understand it's a suspicion, but I think we should just consider it, is all.
I'm waiting.
Out of character, would you like me to start off with there's an issue with my delivery and I think this man has blood bonded me, or would you like to start off with the Sabat thing first to be ever harder hitting?
Why not both?
Why
I'll
not
let you.
both?
I'll let you take the lead.
So, Mr. Decker, there was an arrangement between my sire and a kindred you may know by the name of Sundown. It was a delicate delivery, and I personally, I couldn't imagine him doing this. Sundown has helped me since I've come to this town, but...
Sundown helps Sundown, but he had an arrangement with Thompson, I understand.
Yes. But my coterie mate here expressed some concerns after Sundown had me perform some tasks for him, favors, that he may have... How do I put this lightly? I just can't believe that he would do this. She's under the belief that I may be bloodbound to him. I don't think he would do that. No, he's really, I understand that he has this reputation, but he looks out for us. You know Nosferatu, right? It's
Clan
us.
before sect, yeah, but Sundown. Roll a manipulation, by the way.
I would also like to blood surge for that. I want to be as dramatic as I possibly can. So we'll roll arouse.
You try to lie to the prince's face about one of his most trusted informants. Well, not trusted. One of his most successful informants.
Yeah. And I'm just a little baby. What could I possibly
Can
do?
I help with this at all?
I'm afraid this is on the face of Pix.
That
Searching
it is. Oh god, it is not letting me roll for some reason. Oh, wait, there they are. Yep.
So
Success.
rousing the blood is successful. So you're gonna have two bonus dice to your subterfuge manipulation.
Hell yeah. Fingers crossed. That's a messy critical.
Would you like to willpower?
Yes, I would. I would love to willpower. This is not a good time to freak out on the prince. So I will just quickly roll that again. Remind me how to roll willpower in this? Is it just
2 dice. Yeah, you re-roll 2 non-hunger dice.
Weren't you down to 0 hunger, though, from the 2 bottles?
I was.
So there shouldn't be...
It wouldn't be a messy critical. It's just a critical.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 5 successes right now.
Yeah, so
I don't know, messy critical making her ugly cry would be kind of hilarious.
Ugly
Okay, that's 1 additional success, so that's a total of 6 successes.
Non-messy.
Non-messy. Fingers crossed.
So he says the line. He's like, "This. We all know what Sundown is. He's very good at his job, and he tends to stay in his lane regarding that. This is a lofty accusation. He knows that he understands the currency of our domain is kindred diplomacy and defense of the realm."
Yeah, and if I'm being entirely honest, I wouldn't have even thought to bring this to you. I would have talked to my sire about this. But Elizabeth believed it was poignant to bring to our prince.
He looks at Elizabeth. You believe this?
Wouldn't be the first time we've come across one that wants more for themselves. I mean, he's like bottom rung. He might be a good informant, but what's he really getting out of it? He's slimy. He's always got an angle to play.
He gets the protection of citizenship. He gets favors in return.
But to swipe another kindred's blood and replace it with his own to bloodbound another citizen?
He's had other issues. That's true, but he's...
Listen, we're not saying it is him, but this is kind of what we are starting to notice. We're playing connect the dots, and the dots are shaped like sundown. We need more time to find out more. We're not saying that it is or is not, but I felt it was pertinent to give you a heads up that, hey, this is what things are looking like.
Consider them innocent before guilty. I really think that we're just gonna try and prove this wrong.
If
you... Go ahead.
If it's not wrong, he's got access to you. He can get close to you.
Sundown doesn't concern me in proximity matters. Would you like to involve the judges in this matter?
Not until we know something for sure. The rest of our coterie are out getting more evidence, but with my departure, I wanted to essentially pass off the mantle of liaison to Pixie, so you have someone else that you can rely on, and give you an update as to where we are.
Charisma persuasion.
Fingers crossed.
Would you like to search for 2 extra dice as well?
Sure. How do I do that?
You rouse, whether pass or fail, you get 2 extra dice to your pool. And we haven't quite figured out the foundry. Yeah, so you gain a hunger, but you still have your 2 dice to your dice pool.
Gotcha. And you said charisma... Persuasion.
Persuasion. There have been some careful selection there, but the part you're trying to sell him on is the liaison, more time. That's the persuasion side.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, no,
And-
we don't.
and-
No, we don't want to go to the judge just yet. Like, because you're just getting him back on ease, essentially.
Yeah,
well, it's like
planting
building
the
the-
seed and
Because he'll sleep on this, and he'll think about it. That's why Pixie's act had to be so convincing.
Okay.
6 successes.
Well, I mean, I recognize your liaisonship, and like I said, Blue will help you transport. Let's put a pin in this sundown business until you have more information, and I think it prudent that we involve the judges from there, if you have anything more substantive to levy against him. I am a fair man, firm-gripped but fair, and I think the accused has the right to confront their accuser. Do you think that just?
I do. As I said, we'll take the time that we need to make sure that our case is solid.
Well, I'd imagine 2 days is plenty of time to before the judges are involved. Or this is all dropped and forgotten entirely.
In 2
Yeah,
nights,
sounds
we'll be
about-
back.
Or your liaison will anyway.
Yes, yes.
Y'all can roll insight wits or insight intelligence, your choice. It's whether you're like going off instinct or
Fingers crossed. I'm gonna make another devil's deal. I'm gonna blood surge for that again. I'm gonna
Alright.
make myself extra aware. Hell yeah.
Is that adding the 2 dice?
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, come on. I had so many. How only 3?
Pix is like nervous and uncertain. Okay. Her read on the situation.
I
Elizabeth?
just told a big old whopper.
Elizabeth? You don't think Decker disbelieves you, but he doesn't believe you either. Anything beyond that's hard to discern. He's a little mercurial when it comes to social.
Which is good. I mean, that's what we're going for, really, is to just plant the seed and then see what we can turn up.
He doesn't out and out disbelieve, but you didn't win him or convince him of anything. He's. I can't give you more than that, but it's like a push right now.
He's not Ventura. It isn't Shark Tank, although it is terrifying to be telling a lie of this gravity to the prince.
And Decker's politics are breaking people in half and being like, "Are you not entertained?" That's he's the wartime general, wartime prince. He just kills traitors. He has no time for you to plead your case and barter favor. He just doesn't do that. That's not his style. He's a very me prince.
He's a woo girl.
Yeah, woo. Woo girl. Why did I get that reference but can't place it? All right. The coterie retires for the evening. We get a shot of a private jet with some specially packed and taken care of cargo being loaded on by some of JW Blue's ghouls to personally see that Elizabeth has a safe journey back to Victoria. The rest of the coterie stirs for the evening. After the party, the music from Barth's exceptional DJing still throbbing in people's heads. Everybody roll to see if your beast stirs this evening. It's still like it's the post rave.
Cassis does.
Getting those munchies.
And y'all can tell me your hunger next session, but take a note of it this session. Picks of note: when you return to your haven, Nails was passed out like in the corner, on the floor, like curled up like a small doge.
I think Pix, like, as she walks in, like, still, like, pretty nervous, pretty shaky. Like, she just lightly, just like, Nails? Okay, like,
and he rolls over the other way.
Let me know if you want, like, a blanket or anything. I'm just headed to bed myself. Rather just get out of bed. Okay.
He like rolls over and like one and like his eyes like kind of open up a little bit, and he's like, and it's like it's kind of like a, "Are you good?" type, two thumbs, like it's a questioning.
It's been a night. I'll tell you that much.
He's already out again. Like he didn't hear the response.
Men don't even change when they're undead, but Pixel get onto her dirty mattress, hands on her chest, and it's gonna take a while for sleep to claim her.
Yeah.
Even as the day arises.
All right, so everyone wakes up. Their beasts fighting to come out to play this evening after the evening they had last night. Just like, that was fun, let's do it again type. You can feel that predation surging inside, and some of you manage to hold it back and some of you don't. And I want to make sure everyone is currently in Foundry. We all in Foundry? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Ready?
And Jimmy, comes into Salvatore having like, sitting at his altar, maybe getting the morning prayer or the evening prayer routine out the way before his tree, and Tommy's like holding the incense and it's burning, and Jimmy's like, "Hey, boss, you got a voicemail while you were asleep?"
Hi, Sal. Elizabeth told me that if I had any problems when she was away, to call you. Help.
You vaguely recognize the voice. For some weird reasons, you're thinking about T-shirts and the rave. And we'll call it there.
You can't just do that! You can't give a... Oh my god.